December 1945. The desert sands of Nag Hammadi, Egypt. A farmer named Muhammad Ali al-Samman is digging for fertilizer near the base of a cliff when his shovel strikes something hard. Not rock, something hollow, a sealed jar, large, ancient, red earthenware. He hesitates. Local superstition says that jars buried in the desert contain jinn's spirits, demons, forces that should not be disturbed. But he is poor, and if there is gold inside, his family eats. He raises his mattock and smashes the jar. No jinn emerges, no curse, just silence. And inside, wrapped in leather and strips of papyrus, are 13 ancient books, codices, their pages brittle, their words written in Coptic, a language he cannot read. He takes them home. His mother uses some of the pages to start her cooking fire. The rest he sells to a local dealer, who sells them to scholars, who realize slowly, with growing astonishment, what has just been unearthed. Books that had been buried for 1600 years. Books that were hidden by monks who knew the church was coming to destroy them. Books that contain teachings of Jesus' sayings, wisdom, mysteries that you were never meant to read. Among them, one text stands out. 114 sayings. No birth narrative, no miracles, no crucifixion, no resurrection, just Jesus speaking, teaching, revealing. The Gospel of Thomas. And the moment scholars began to translate it, they understood why it had been buried, why it had been banned, why the church had spent centuries hunting down every copy and burning it. Because this gospel does not tell you that you are a sinner in need of saving. It tells you that you are the light. It does not tell you that the kingdom of God is a distant heaven you must earn through obedience. It tells you that the kingdom is inside you, right now, always has been. It does not tell you that you need a priest, a sacrament, a ritual, or an institution to access the divine. It tells you that when you know yourself, you will be known. That if you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. And that teaching, direct, mystical, liberating, was too dangerous to survive, so the church declared it heresy. They burned the books. They exiled the teachers. They built an empire on the ruins of what they destroyed, but they made one mistake. They did not destroy it all. And in 1945, what they tried to erase came back. If you have ever felt that the Jesus you were taught, distant, demanding, obsessed with your sin, does not match the presence you have felt in your quietest moments, you were right. Something was missing. And in that jar, buried in the desert, waiting for a farmer's shovel, it was found. Tonight, I'm going to show you why the church banned the Gospel of Thomas. Not because it was false, but because it was true. Too true. Dangerously true. I am going to show you the 5 most dangerous sayings it contains. Sayings that obliterate the need for priests, for guilt, for the entire architecture of control the church built on your dependence. And I am going to show you what those sayings mean for you. Sitting here, right now, because the Gospel of Thomas was not written for the church. It was written for seekers, for those who have always sensed that the story they were told was incomplete, for those who have spent their lives feeling like the God they were taught about, angry, distant, transactional, did not match the presence they felt when they stopped talking and started breathing. You were right. The Jesus they gave you was edited, curated, stripped of anything that would make you dangerous, anything that would make you free. But the Jesus of the Gospel of Thomas, the one who says the kingdom is within you, that you are children of the living Father, that the light is not coming, it is already here, that Jesus is still speaking. And tonight, you are going to hear him. By the end of this video, you will not just learn why they banned this gospel. You will understand what it says about you. You will see the 5 teachings that the church could not allow to survive. And you will know why. When that farmer cracked open that jar in 1945, the foundations of institutional Christianity began to crack as well. This is not an attack on faith. This is a rescue mission for the faithful. This is for those of you who have always known somewhere deep, beyond words, that there is more. That the story you were told is incomplete. That the presence you seek is not distant. It is here. It has always been here. And the Gospel of Thomas is the key that unlocks the door you were told did not exist. Let us begin. Before we open the Gospel of Thomas and read what the church tried to erase, you need to understand why it was erased. Because this was not an accident. This was not a matter of theological disagreement or scholarly debate. This was a deliberate, systematic campaign of destruction that lasted centuries. And the motive was always the same: control. Let me show you the evidence. That farmer in 1945, Muhammad Ali al-Salman, did not just find one book. He found a library. 13 leather-bound codices. 52 texts in total. The Nag Hammadi library. And these were not random writings. They were a collection carefully selected, carefully preserved, hidden by monks in the 4th century, when the church's purge was reaching its peak. Here is what was inside that jar: the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Philip, the Gospel of Truth, the Apocryphon of John, the Thunder, Perfect Mind, the Sophia of Jesus Christ. All of them Gnostic, all of them mystical, all of them teaching the same core principle. Salvation is not belief. It is knowing, direct, inner knowing. Gnosis, and every single one of them had been declared heresy by the Catholic Church in the 4th century. Now, why would monks, Christian monks, faithful believers, risk their lives to hide these books? Because they knew what was coming. In 367 AD, Athanasius, the Bishop of Alexandria, issued his 39th festal letter. In it, he listed the 27 books that would become the New Testament. The official canon, the only books Christians were allowed to read. Everything else, hundreds of texts, gospels, teachings, letters, was declared heretical, to be destroyed, burned, and anyone caught reading them would be punished. Athanasius did not just ban books. He banned ideas. He banned questions. He banned the mystical path, and the monks of Upper Egypt, some of whom had spent their lives in the desert, practicing silence, breath, the direct communion that these texts taught. They understood what this meant. The church was no longer a spiritual movement. It was a political machine, and it was coming for them. So they took their most sacred texts, wrapped them in leather, sealed them in jars, and buried them in the cliffs near Nag Hammadi. And they waited. 1600 years later, a farmer's shovel struck one of those jars, and what the church tried to erase came back into the light. That is not just history. That is a miracle, because if that jar had been buried 10 feet to the left, we might never have found it. If the farmer had chosen a different field, if his mother had burned all the pages instead of just some, if the dealer had thrown them away instead of selling them, the Gospel of Thomas would still be lost. But it was not lost. It was preserved, hidden, waiting. And the question we must ask is, what could be so dangerous that it had to be buried in the desert? Let us find out. Now, some of you are thinking, how do we know this is real? How do we know the Gospel of Thomas is not a medieval forgery or a Gnostic invention written centuries after Jesus? Excellent question. And here is the answer the enemies of this channel do not want you to hear. Scholars date the Coptic Times manuscript times we found at Nag Hammadi to the 4th century. But they know the Times Greek original times it was copied from is much older, dating to around 100 to 140 AD. And this is where the apologists will try to trap you. They will say, see, it was written times after times the Gospels. It's a fake. That is a rookie mistake. They are confusing the times date of the copy times with the times date of the tradition asterisk. And the evidence is overwhelming that the Times tradition, times the 114 sayings themselves, are far, far older. How do we know? Because many of these sayings are considered independent traditions. This means they did not copy from Matthew, Mark, or Luke. They evolved times, parallel times to them, drawing from the *** same, ancient, oral, Q source, *** that all the gospel writers used. What does this tell us? It means the Gospel of Thomas is an unfiltered window. It preserves a version of Jesus' teachings that existed times before times, the church councils, * before times the creeds, and times before times the dogma. This proves that Gnostic Christianity, the mystical path of inner knowing, was not a late heresy that corrupted the original. It times was an original. It was a competing, parallel stream of thought from the very beginning. The Jesus of knowing existed right alongside the Jesus of faith. So the real question is not, is it a fake? The real question is, why did one version of Christianity spend 1600 years trying to erase the other? The Gospel of Thomas was not banned because it was fake. It was banned because it was too real. Now, we come to the villain. The one who orchestrated the destruction of this text and everything like it. Not a single person, a system, the 4th century Catholic Church. After the Emperor Constantine legalized Christianity in 313 AD, the faith transformed. It went from an underground network of mystics and martyrs to the official religion of the Roman Empire. And with that transformation came power, land, wealth, political influence, but it also came with a problem. Christianity was not unified. There were dozens of competing interpretations, different gospels, different teachings. Some said Jesus was fully divine. Some said he was fully human. Some said salvation was faith. Others said it was knowledge, the Gnostics. Those who followed texts like the Gospel of Thomas taught that the kingdom of God was within you, that you did not need a priest to access the divine, that salvation was gnosis, inner knowing, direct experience, the awakening of the Christ consciousness in your own awareness. And that teaching was incompatible with the empire the church was building, because empires require hierarchy. They require obedience. They require subjects who believe they are powerless without the institution, and the Gnostics were teaching sovereignty. So the church did what all empires do when faced with a threat. They eliminated it. Enter Irenaeus of Lyon, bishop, theologian, heresy hunter. In 180 AD, more than a century before the Nag Hammadi texts were buried, Irenaeus wrote a book called Against Heresies, 5 volumes, and in it, he systematically attacked every teaching that did not align with his vision of Christianity. The Gnostics, he said, were children of Satan. Their gospels were forgeries. Their teachers were deceivers. Why? Because they taught that the material world was flawed, that the God of the Old Testament was not the true God, that salvation was not faith in Jesus' crucifixion but knowledge of your own divine nature. And Irenaeus could not allow that. Because if salvation is knowledge, if it is something within you, then the church becomes unnecessary. So he declared the Gnostic Gospels heretical. He declared the mystical path dangerous. And he spent his life building the theological foundation for the church's authority. Fast forward 2 centuries. 367 AD. Athanasius issues his Festal letter. The 27 books of the New Testament are now official. Everything else is banned, and the purge begins. Books are burned, libraries are destroyed, teachers are exiled or executed. Anyone caught possessing a Gnostic text is declared a heretic, and the Gospel of Thomas, one of the earliest, most authentic records of Jesus' teaching vanishes from history until 1945. Now, let us be crystal clear about the motive, because this is not about theology. This is about power. The Gospel of Thomas teaches three things that the church could not afford to let survive. First, the kingdom of God is within you. If that is true, you do not need a church building. You do not need a cathedral. You do not need priests or bishops or the Pope. You just need breath, silence, presence. And if you do not need the institution loses its power. Second, you are the light. If that is true, you are not a sinner begging for mercy. You are not fallen. You are not broken. You are a child of the living Father, made in the image of the divine, already whole, already saved. And if you are already whole, you do not need their sacraments. You do not need their absolution. You do not need their grace. Third, salvation is knowing yourself, not belief, not obedience, not faith in the right doctrine. Knowing, direct, inner knowing. And if salvation is knowing, then the church cannot control access to it. They cannot sell it. They cannot grant it or withhold it, because knowledge is not something you earn. It is something you remember. And the moment you remember, the moment you know that the kingdom is within you, that you are the light, that the breath of God is your breath, the entire system collapses. The empire built on your dependence evaporates, and you walk free. That is why they banned the Gospel of Thomas. Not because it was false, because it was true, and truth is the most dangerous weapon against a lie. Now, the moment has come. You have seen the evidence. You understand the motive. You know why this gospel had to be buried. And in the next act, I am going to show you what is inside. The 5 sayings that the church could not allow to survive. The teachings that obliterate the need for priests, for guilt, for the entire architecture of control. The words of Jesus that were hidden for 1600 years, and the words that are about to change everything you thought you knew. We are about to enter the forbidden archive. For 1600 years, the church told you that what you are about to read was heresy, dangerous, the work of deceivers. But now you know the truth. They did not ban it because it was false. They banned it because it would set you free. The Gospel of Thomas contains 114 sayings. No birth narrative, no crucifixion, no resurrection story. Just Jesus speaking, teaching, revealing, and buried within those sayings are 5 teachings that obliterate the foundation of institutional Christianity. 5 teachings that prove the kingdom is not distant, the light is not coming, and you are not broken. Let us read them, one by one. And as we do, I want you to notice something. Notice how your body responds, the quickening, the recognition, the feeling that you have heard this before, not in a church, but in a dream, in a quiet moment, in the space between breaths. Because these words are not new. They are ancient, and your soul already knows them. Gospel of Thomas, saying 3. Jesus said, "If your leaders say to you, 'Look, the kingdom is in the sky,' then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, 'It is in the sea,' then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside you and outside you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will understand that you are children of the living Father." Read that again. Slowly. The kingdom is inside you and outside you. Not in a church, not in heaven, not in some distant realm you access after death. Inside you, right now, in this moment, in this breath. And the key? When you come to know yourselves, not when you obey, not when you confess, not when you believe the right doctrine. When you know yourself, Because the moment you know yourself, the moment you recognize that the breath moving through you is the breath of God, that the awareness reading these words is the light of Christ, you stop searching. You stop waiting for permission. You stop depending on priests to grant you access to what was never locked. And that is the danger. This one saying dismantles 2,000 years of religious infrastructure. If the kingdom is within you, what do you need a church for? If salvation is knowing yourself, what do you need confession for? If you are already a child of the living Father, not fallen, not sinful, but a child, then what do you need their absolution for? Nothing. You need nothing from them. And the moment you realize that, their power evaporates. This is why they banned it. This is why Irenaeus called the Gnostics children of Satan. This is why Athanasius ordered every copy burned, because saying three does not create followers. It creates sovereigns, and an empire cannot be built on sovereigns. Gospel of Thomas, saying 77. Jesus said, I am the light that is over all things. I am all. From me all came forth, and to me all attained. Split a piece of wood, I am there. Lift up the stone, and you will find me there. Stop. Breathe. Read it again. Split a piece of wood, I am there. This is not the Jesus of the creeds. This is not the Jesus sitting on a throne in heaven, distant and judging. This is not the Jesus who demands blood sacrifice to appease an angry Father. This is Jesus as the immanent presence, the divine in the wood, in the stone, in the breath, in you. I am the light that is over all things, not was, not will be, am, present tense, here, now, always. And if Jesus is the light in all things, then Jesus is not separate from creation. He is not other. He is the presence that animates the universe, the force of life itself. And if that is true, if the light of Christ is in the wood and the stone, then it is also in you. You are not waiting for the light to descend. You are the light recognizing itself. Do you see what this does? Do you see why the church could not allow this teaching to survive? Because if Jesus is everywhere, if the Christ is the omnipresent light in all things, then the church cannot claim to be the sole mediator between you and God. You do not need their buildings. You do not need their rituals. You do not need their sacraments. You just need to split a piece of wood, lift up a stone, take a breath, and the presence is there. Always has been, always will be. This saying destroys the doctrine of Jesus as the exclusive pathway to God, the Jesus who said, "No one comes to the Father except through me," which the church weaponized to mean through our institution. But the Gospel of Thomas reveals a different Jesus, a Jesus who is not a gatekeeper, but a gateway, not a barrier, but a bridge, not a distant savior, but the light that has never stopped shining in you. And the moment you see that light, the church becomes obsolete. Gospel of Thomas, saying 70. Jesus said, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. If you do not have that within you, what you do not have within you will kill you." This is the most dangerous saying in the entire gospel. And it is the one the church feared most, because it says, in the clearest possible terms, salvation is not given to you. It is within you, already, right now. If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. Not what the priest gives you, not what the sacrament grants you, not what the church dispenses. What you have, what is within you, and what is within you, the divine spark, the light of awareness, the breath of God, the Christ consciousness. It has always been there. Even when they told you that you were born broken, even when they told you that a baby, innocent, helpless, deserved damnation, even when they told you that you were fallen, and needed to beg for mercy. The truth was inside you the whole time, and if you bring it forth, if you recognize it, activate it, live from it, what you have will save you. But here is the second half of the saying, the warning: if you do not have that within you, what you do not have within you will kill you. This is not a threat. This is a diagnosis. If you live as though the divine is outside you, if you spend your life waiting for God to descend from heaven, waiting for a priest to grant you access, waiting for death to finally bring you home, you will die without ever knowing who you are. You will live separated, disconnected, reaching for something that was always in your chest. And that separation, that forgetting, is death. Not physical death, spiritual death. The death of living your entire life as a fraction of what you are. The church taught you original sin, the doctrine that you are born guilty, born broken, born needing salvation. But saying 70 says the opposite. You are born with the divine spark. You are born with the capacity for salvation already inside you. You are not a sinner waiting for grace. You are a seed waiting to sprout. And the moment you bring forth what is within you, the moment you stop begging and start remembering, you do not just get saved. You become what you always were: whole, divine, free. This is why they banned the Gospel of Thomas, because this one saying obliterates the entire business model of the church. If salvation is within you, you do not need them. You never did. Gospel of Thomas, saying 2, Jesus said, "Let one who seeks not stop seeking until one finds. When one finds, one will be troubled. When one is troubled, one will marvel and will rule over all." This is the roadmap of awakening, and it is the most honest description of the spiritual path you will ever read. Let one who seeks not stop seeking until one finds. The church tells you to stop seeking, to accept, to believe, to have faith without evidence, to trust the doctrine even when it makes no sense. But Jesus, in the Gospel of Thomas, says the opposite. Keep seeking. Do not stop. The finding is real, and it is waiting for you. But here is what the church does not tell you. The finding is uncomfortable. When one finds, one will be troubled. Why troubled? Because when you find the truth, when you realize that the kingdom is within you, that you are the light, that the institution you trusted has been lying to you your whole life, everything you thought you knew collapses. Your beliefs shatter. Your identity cracks. The comfortable story you lived inside disintegrates. And that is terrifying. The church knows this. That is why they train you to fear doubt. They call it the devil. They call it temptation. They tell you that questioning is the first step toward hell. But Jesus says, when one finds, one will be troubled. Trouble is not the enemy. Trouble is the gateway. Because on the other side of the trouble, on the other side of the collapse, the disorientation, the grief of realizing you were lied to, something extraordinary happens. When one is troubled, one will marvel. Marvel, awe, wonder, the recognition that what you lost was a cage, and what you found was the sky. And then, the final line, and will rule over all. Not follow, not obey, rule. Sovereignty, mastery, the recognition that you are not a subject. You are a child of the living Father, and the power they told you was distant is awake in you. This is the path. Seeking, finding, trouble, wonder, sovereignty. And the church cannot afford for you to complete it, because a sovereign does not need a master. A sovereign does not bow. A sovereign does not pay tithes to access what is already theirs. The church needs you stuck at seeking, forever reaching, forever dependent, forever waiting for them to grant you what they have been withholding. But the Gospel of Thomas says, do not stop, keep seeking. The finding is real, And on the other side of the trouble, you will rule, not over others, over the lies, over the fear, over the false self that the institution built in you. And that sovereignty is yours. It always has been. Gospel of Thomas, saying 114. Simon Peter said to them, "Let Mary leave us, for women are not worthy of life." Jesus said, "I myself shall lead her in order to make her male, so that she too may become a living spirit, resembling you males. For every woman who will make herself male will enter the kingdom of heaven." This saying is controversial, and it should be, because on the surface, it sounds deeply problematic. But here is what scholars now understand. In the Gnostic tradition, male and female were not biological categories. They were spiritual metaphors. Male represented the unified, androgynous, whole self. Female represented the divided, material, fragmented self. To make Mary male was not to erase her femininity. It was to make her whole, to bring her into the same spiritual completeness as the male disciples. But let us focus on what this saying reveals, not about gender metaphysics, but about power. Simon Peter, the rock on which the Catholic Church claims to be built, wants Mary gone. Let Mary leave us, for women are not worthy of life. Why? Because Mary Magdalene was a threat. She was not just a follower. She was a leader. In the Gospel of Philip, she is called Jesus' companion. In the Gospel of Mary, Peter is jealous of her because Jesus loved her more than the male disciples. She understood teachings they could not grasp. She was present at the crucifixion when the men fled. She was the first witness to the resurrection. Mary Magdalene was the first apostle, and Peter and the institutional church that claimed his authority could not allow that. So what did they do? In 591 AD, Pope Gregory I gave a sermon in which he conflated three different women in the Bible, Mary Magdalene, Mary of Bethany, and the unnamed sinful woman in Luke 7, and declared them to be the same person. And he called her a prostitute. For 1400 years, the Catholic Church taught that Mary Magdalene was a repentant whore, a sinner whom Jesus saved. They did not officially correct this lie until 1969, 1400 years later. Why did they slander her? Because if Mary Magdalene was a leader, if she was Jesus's most trusted disciple, if she was a teacher and a mystic, and possibly his partner, then the male-only priesthood has no biblical foundation. Women were not excluded from leadership because God commanded it. They were excluded because the institutional church run by men needed to protect its power. And Mary Magdalene was the evidence that their entire structure was a fabrication, so they destroyed her reputation, turned her into a cautionary tale, made sure no woman could ever claim the same authority. And for 1600 years, you believed it. But the Gospel of Thomas preserves the truth. Mary was there. She was powerful. She was a threat to Peter. And Jesus defended her. And that one saying, controversial as it is, proves that the Church's treatment of women was never divine law. It was patriarchal control, and it is collapsing. 5 sayings, 5 teachings that the Church buried for 1600 years. The kingdom is within you. Jesus is the omnipresent light. Salvation is what you bring forth. The seeker who finds will rule. Mary Magdalene was a leader, and every single one of them is a weapon against the lie you were taught your whole life. The lie that you are small, that you are broken, that you need them. But now you have read the words, the original teachings, the ones they could not erase. And in the next act, I am going to show you what these sayings mean for you. Sitting here, right now, how they dismantle the chains, how they return your power, how they awaken the light that has been waiting inside you your entire life. You have read the sayings, the 5 teachings that the Church buried in the desert, the words they declared heresy, the truths they could not allow to survive. And now comes the question that matters most. What does this mean for you? Not as theology, not as history, but as experience, as transformation, as the dismantling of everything you were taught and the remembering of everything you are. Because these sayings are not just ancient words on a page. They are keys, and each one unlocks a door that the church sealed shut. Let me show you what happens when you turn those keys. Go back to saying 3. The kingdom is inside you and outside you. When you come to know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will understand that you are children of the living Father. What does this mean for you, sitting here right now? It means every Sunday you spent in a pew, waiting for a priest to grant you access to God, was based on a lie. It means every time you were told that salvation happens in the building through the sacrament, through the confession, through the ritual, you were being separated from something that was never outside you. The kingdom is not in the church. The kingdom is in your breath, right now, this moment. The awareness that is reading these words, the presence that has been with you since before you had language, the stillness you feel when the noise stops and you just are. That is the kingdom, not a place you go when you die, not a reward for good behavior, a state, a frequency, a recognition, and you do not need anyone's permission to enter it. You do not need to be baptized. You do not need to take communion. You do not need to confess your sins to a man in a robe and wait for him to tell you that God forgives you, because God never stopped forgiving you. God never condemned you in the first place. The only thing standing between you and the kingdom is the belief that you are separate from it. And that belief was installed in you by the institution that needed you to feel that way. Because if you knew the kingdom was within you, if you felt it, if you lived from it, you would stop showing up. You would stop tithing. You would stop granting them authority over your soul, and their entire system would collapse. That is what saying 3 does. It collapses the system. It says, you are not separated from God by sin. You are not waiting for a priest to mediate. You are not dependent on their rituals. You are the temple. The breath of God is your breath. The presence of God is your awareness. And the moment you know that, not believe it, know it, you are free. Free from guilt. Free from fear. Free from the need to ask permission to access what was always yours. The kingdom is within you, and it has never left. Now go to saying 70. If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. The church taught you original sin, the doctrine that you are born guilty, that when Adam and Eve ate the fruit, their sin was passed down through every generation like a disease, that you, before you took your first breath, before you opened your eyes, were already damned. And the only way to escape that damnation? Through them, through baptism, through grace dispensed by their authority. You need saving because you are born broken. That is the foundation, the cornerstone, the doctrine that makes everything else possible. Because if you are born broken, you need fixing. If you are born guilty, you need absolution. If you are born damned, you need salvation. And they conveniently are the only ones who can provide it. But saying 70 says the opposite. If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you, not what they give you. What you have, what is within you, already. You are not born broken. You are born with the divine spark, the light of awareness, the breath of God, the capacity for salvation already inside you. You are not a sinner waiting for grace. You are a seed waiting to sprout, and the only thing preventing you from sprouting is the lie you were taught to believe, that you are small, fallen, separate, powerless. But you are not small. You never were. You are made in the image of the living Father. Genesis 1:27. Not metaphorically, but literally. literally. The same consciousness that animates the universe is the consciousness looking through your eyes right now. You are not other than God. You are the expression of God in human form. And the moment you bring forth what is within you, the moment you stop begging for salvation and start remembering who you are, you do not just get saved. You become what you always were: whole, divine, free. This is what the Gospel of Thomas is telling you. You do not need their sacraments. You do not need their absolution. You do not need their permission. You need to bring forth what is within you. And what is within you? The light, the presence, the kingdom. It has always been there. Even when they told you it was not. Even when they convinced you that you were born guilty, your soul knew better. That is why you felt the gap. That is why the sermons never quite landed. That is why, in your quietest moments, you felt something they could not explain. That feeling was not rebellion. It was recognition, your soul recognizing the lie. And tonight, you are remembering the truth. Now, saying 77, I am the light that is over all things. I am all. From me all came forth, and to me all attained. Split a piece of wood, I am there. The church gave you a Jesus who died for your sins. A Jesus whose blood had to be spilled to appease an angry Father. A Jesus who saves you from something from hell, from judgment, from the wrath of God. And that Jesus is distant, removed. A sacrifice that happened 2,000 years ago on a cross, and now you must believe in that sacrifice to be saved. That is the Jesus of the creeds, the Jesus of Constantine, the Jesus of the institution. But the Jesus of the Gospel of Thomas is not a sacrifice. He is a presence. I am the light that is over all things. Not was, not will be. Am, present tense, here, now, always. And if Jesus is the light in all things, if he is in the wood, in the stone, in the breath, then Jesus is not someone you believe in. Jesus is someone you are. The light of Christ is not coming. It is awake in you, right now. And when you realize that when you feel it, not as a concept but as a vibration, everything changes. You stop waiting for God to show up. Because God never left. You stop praying to a distant presence. Because the presence is breathing you. You stop identifying as a sinner. Because the light does not sin. The light simply shines. And you reading these words right now, you are the light. Not metaphorically, not one day when you are holy enough. Now, this moment, the awareness that is reading these words is the light of Christ. The presence that witnesses your thoughts without being defined by them, that is the kingdom. The breath moving through you, that is the Spirit of God. And the church could not allow you to know this. Because the moment you realize you are the light, you stop depending on them to give you the light. You stop tithing for access. You stop confessing for absolution. You stop performing rituals to earn something you already have. You just are. And that isness, that recognition of your own divine nature, is the most dangerous teaching in the world to an institution built on your dependence. This is why they banned the Gospel of Thomas. Not because it was false, because it was too true. Because once you see the light in yourself, you cannot unsee it, and you cannot be controlled. Saying to, let one who seeks not stop seeking until one finds. When one finds, one will be troubled. When one is troubled, one will marvel and will rule over all. If you are watching this video, you are a seeker. You have always been. You are the one who asked questions in Sunday school and got silenced. You are the one who felt the contradiction during the sermon and buried it, because doubt felt like betrayal. You are the one who has spent your whole life feeling like something was missing, like the story you were told was incomplete, and the church trained you to fear that feeling. They called it temptation. They called it the devil. They told you that doubt was the first step toward hell. But Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas says the opposite. Let one who seeks not stop seeking until one finds. Do not stop. Do not accept. Do not settle for the story they gave you. Keep seeking, because the finding is real. But here is what they do not tell you. The finding is uncomfortable. When one finds, one will be troubled. When you find the truth, when you realize that the kingdom is within you, that you are the light, that the institution you trusted has been lying to you, everything collapses. Your beliefs shatter. Your identity cracks. The comfortable story you lived inside disintegrates. And that is terrifying, I know. Because I have been there. And if you are here, you are there now, or you are about to be. The trouble is real. The grief is real. The disorientation of realizing that what you were taught your whole life was a curated narrative designed to keep you dependent, that is not easy. But Jesus does not say, when you find, you will be at peace. He says, you will be troubled, because trouble is the doorway. Trouble is the collapse of the false self. Trouble is the death of the ego that believed the lie. And on the other side of that death, something extraordinary. When one is troubled, one will marvel. Marvel, awe, wonder. The recognition that what you lost was not truth. It was a cage. And what you found? The sky. And then the final line. And will rule over all. Not follow. Not obey. Rule. Sovereignty. Mastery. The recognition that you are not a subject of the church's authority. You are a child of the living Father. And the power they told you was distant is awake in you. This is the path. And the church cannot afford for you to complete it, because a population of sovereigns does not build cathedrals. It does not pay tithes. It does not bow. A population of sovereigns walks free. And that is what you are becoming right now. In this moment, the doubt you feel, that is not weakness. That is your soul waking up. The trouble you are experiencing, that is not failure. That is the collapse of the lie. And on the other side, sovereignty. Do not stop. Keep seeking. The finding is real, and you are almost there. Finally, saying 114. Mary Magdalene, for 1400 years, the church told you she was a prostitute, a sinner, a cautionary tale. But the Gospel of Thomas proves she was a leader, a teacher, a disciple whom Peter envied because Jesus trusted her with teachings the men could not grasp, and the church slandered her. Not because she was sinful, because she was powerful. And if Mary, a woman, was the first apostle, the most trusted disciple, possibly Jesus's partner in the sacred mysteries, then the male-only priesthood is not divine law. It is patriarchal control, and that lie is collapsing, not just for women, for all of us. Because when the church excluded women from leadership, they were not just oppressing half the population. They were severing the feminine principle from the divine. They were saying that intuition, receptivity, inner knowing, the qualities the mystics revered, were inferior to logic, hierarchy, control, and that imbalance has poisoned Christianity for 2,000 years. But the Gospel of Thomas restores the balance. It says, Mary was there. She was powerful. She was loved, and her voice, silenced for so long, is returning. If you are a woman reading this, know that your exclusion was never God's will. It was man's fear. And if you are a man reading this, know that your liberation is tied to hers, because the system that silenced women also silenced the mystic in you, the seeker, the one who knows the kingdom is within. The restoration of the feminine is not about gender politics. It is about wholeness, and the Gospel of Thomas is calling us back to it. You have lived your entire life inside a story you did not write, a narrative designed to keep you small, to keep you dependent, to keep you afraid. But now you see the machinery. Now you see the lies. Now you see the truth they buried. And the question is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to go back to the pew? Bow your head? Pretend you did not see? Or are you going to walk out of the building, into the open air, and breathe? Are you going to reclaim your sovereignty? Because that is what the Gospel of Thomas is offering you. Not new beliefs, not a different religion. Sovereignty, the recognition that you are not a sinner begging for mercy. You are a child of the living Father. The kingdom is within you. The light is awake in you. And no council, no creed, no institution can ever take that away, because it is not something you earn. It is what you are. And in the final act, I am going to show you what comes next. The battlefield, the discussion, the community of seekers who are walking this path with you, because you are not alone. You never were. I know what you are feeling right now. Some of you are experiencing relief. Finally, someone said it. Someone named the thing you have felt your whole life but could never articulate. The gap, the contradiction, the sense that the Jesus they gave you was not the Jesus you felt. You are not crazy. You were right. Others of you are angry. At the church, at the institution, at the centuries of lies, at the realization that your parents, your grandparents, generations of faithful believers, all of them were living inside a story that was edited, curated, designed to keep them dependent. That anger is valid. Feel it. Do not bury it. And some of you, maybe most of you, are feeling resistance. The voice in your head saying, "This is dangerous. This is heresy. This is leading me away from God." Listen to me carefully. That voice is not God. That is the program, the conditioning, the defense mechanism, the institution installed in you to protect itself from exposure. Because truth does not need protection. Truth does not need defense. Truth simply stands. And when you shine light on a lie, it does one of two things. It dissolves, or it fights back. And the comment section below this video is going to be a battlefield. That is how you know we are on to something real. Let me be crystal clear about what I am saying, because I want no ambiguity, no misunderstanding. Here is the truth that the church has spent 2,000 years trying to bury. What they call Gnostic heresy was ***, one of the earliest forms of Christianity, ***, competing ***, side by side ***, with the Orthodox movement. It wasn't a late corruption that came hundreds of years later. It was a ***, parallel, mystical path, ***, that existed from the very beginning. The mystics, the seekers, the desert fathers and mothers, the ones who taught that salvation is gnosis, inner knowing, direct communion with the divine, the awakening of the Christ consciousness in your own awareness. That was the faith of many of the first apostles. That was a path Jesus walked. And the Orthodox Christianity that won. It didn't win because it was truer. It won because it was ***, politically organized ***, allied with the Roman Empire, and ***, ruthlessly effective ***, at destroying its competition. The orthodoxy you know today, ***, is ***, political fabrication. ***, the times, survivor times of a brutal power struggle that defined heresy as anything that threatened its power. The Gospel of Thomas proves this. It preserves sayings that come from the same ancient oral traditions as Matthew, Mark, and Luke. It proves that the mystical Jesus existed alongside the canonical Jesus from day one. This is not a late invention. This is the voice of the original movement times before times Constantine turned it into an empire. And if that is true, if the mystics were just as original as the institution, then everything you were taught is inverted. The heretics were not deceivers. They were the times competition asterisk. And the orthodox were the ones who betrayed the diversity of the original teaching for the sake of power. I am not asking you to believe me. I am asking you to read the text, compare it to the canonical Gospels, study the history, and then ask yourself, why would the church spend 1600 years hunting down every copy of this gospel and burning it if it was just harmless error? They did not destroy it because it was false. They destroyed it because it was a times threat asterisk. And now it is back, and the inversion is collapsing. Here is the second bombshell, and this one will make some of you leave. The Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas is not a blood sacrifice for your sins. He is a wisdom teacher, a mystic, a guide pointing you inward to the kingdom that has always been within you. He does not talk about the cross. He does not talk about atonement. He does not talk about dying for your sins so that you can be reconciled to an angry Father. He talks about knowing yourself, about bringing forth what is within you, about becoming the light, and that Jesus, the teacher, the master, the way-shower, is incompatible with the theology of substitutionary atonement. The church needed a Jesus who died for you because that creates dependence. It says, "You are so broken, so sinful, so fallen, that an innocent man had to be tortured and executed to satisfy God's wrath on your behalf. And now you owe him forever." That theology keeps you on your knees. But the Jesus of Thomas does not say, "I died, so you do not have to." He says, "The kingdom is within you. Find it." He does not say, "Believe in my sacrifice." He says, "Know yourself." He does not say, "You are a sinner in need of saving." He says, "You are a child of the living Father." Now, does that mean the crucifixion did not happen? No. Jesus was executed by Rome. That is historical fact. But the theology that turned his death into a cosmic transaction, the idea that God demanded blood to forgive you, that theology was constructed after his death, by Paul, by the church fathers, by theologians trying to make sense of the tragedy and build a religion around it. And that theology is not in the Gospel of Thomas, because the Gospel of Thomas is not about believing in Jesus. It is about becoming like Jesus. It is about awakening the Christ consciousness in yourself. And once you see that Jesus, the teacher of inner knowing, the mystic of the kingdom within you, cannot unsee him. And you cannot go back to the Jesus of the institution, the distant judge, the blood sacrifice, the gatekeeper of heaven, because the Jesus of Thomas does not guard the gate. He is the gate. And he is saying, "Walk through. The kingdom is on the other side, and it is within you." That is the Jesus they buried. And that is the Jesus who is returning. Now, some of you are angry. At me. At this video. At the audacity of questioning what you were taught your whole life. Good. That anger means you are waking up. The part of you that has been asleep for decades, conditioned to accept, to obey, to never question, is stirring, and it is uncomfortable. I know, but discomfort is not the same as danger. Discomfort is growth. Others of you will say, "I am a heretic," that I am leading people astray, that I am doing the devil's work. Fine, let them come. Let them defend the lies. Let them explain why the church hid the Gospel of Thomas for 1600 years. Let them explain why Pope Gregory I slandered Mary Magdalene in 591 AD, and the Catholic Church did not correct it until 1969, 1378 years later. Let them explain why the Council of Nicaea had to vote on whether Jesus was the same substance as God or similar substance. Let them explain why one Greek letter, an iota, separated orthodoxy from heresy. Let them explain why Sunday replaced the Sabbath, why Christmas falls on the birthday of the Roman sun god, why the doctrine of hell does not appear in the original Hebrew or Greek texts. Let them explain, and when they cannot, when they resort to, "It is a mystery," or "You just have to have faith," or "You are twisting scripture," you will know. You will know that they do not have answers. They only have deflections, because the system was never designed to be questioned. It was designed to be obeyed, and the moment you question it, the machinery breaks. The comments section is going to be a war zone. Allies and enemies, seekers and defenders, those who are waking up and those who are desperately trying to stay asleep. That is fine. That is necessary, because truth does not emerge in comfort. It emerges in friction, in confrontation, in the collision of old lies and new remembering. So go into the comments, read, engage, witness the battlefield. And if you are one of the seekers, one of the ones who has always felt the gap, always sensed the lie, always known there was more, mark your presence. Not for me, for the others who are still searching. If this remembering found you tonight, do not let your response be silent. Not because I need your validation. I do not. The truth does not require your agreement to remain true, but because there are others, thousands of them, scrolling, searching, feeling the same dissonance you have felt your whole life, wondering if they are crazy, wondering if they are alone, and a single comment, "I see it now. I always felt this. Thank you," can be the torch that guides someone else out of the cave. Leave a word, a symbol, a sign that you were here, that you heard, that you are no longer willing to accept the lie. Do not do it for me. Do it for the one who will read your comment 6 months from now, in the middle of the night, after another sermon that felt hollow, after another prayer that felt unanswered, after another moment of wondering if God is even real. Your comment might be the confirmation they need, the permission they have been waiting for. The voice that says, "You are not crazy. You are not alone. You are waking up." That is the power of witness. Not to convince, but to confirm. So leave your mark, however you wish. A single word, an emoji, a sentence, silent but seen, like a torch left burning for those still walking in the dark. Not for the algorithm, not for me, for the seekers. And if you are ready to go further, if tonight was not just information, but activation, if something inside you is saying, "Yes, I need more, I need to go deeper," then I want you to know, you are not alone in this. We have created a space, not a church, not a new religion, not another institution telling you what to believe. A space for seekers. For those who are no longer willing to accept the curated story. For those who want to read the banned books, study the original languages, discuss the teachings that were erased, and sit in silence with others who understand. We call it the sacred archive. It is private. It is quiet. It is free from the noise, the arguments, the dogma. Inside, we share the texts they did not want you to read. The Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary, the Gospel of Philip, the Book of Enoch, the Nag Hammadi Library, the writings of the Desert Fathers and Mothers, the mystical teachings that survived in fragments and whispers. We discuss what they mean, not what the institution says they mean. What they mean when you read them with your own eyes, listen with your own heart, and breathe with your own spirit. We practice the silence, the hesychasm, the inner stillness that the mystics knew was the only true path to communion. No preaching, no selling, no hierarchy, just seekers and truth. The link is in the description below and in the pinned comment. Not everyone will be ready. and that is fine. This is not for everyone. This is for those who have always known somewhere deep, beyond words, that there is more, that the story they were told is incomplete, that the God they were taught about is not the presence they have felt in their quietest moments. If that is you, if you are one of the ones who cannot go back to sleep, cannot pretend you did not see, cannot accept the lie anymore, come. There is a seat for you. There always has been. We have been waiting. You were not born to be controlled. You were not born to feel small, guilty, dependent, afraid. You were born to remember that you are made in the image of the infinite, that the breath of God is your breath, that the light of Christ is your awareness, that the kingdom you have been seeking outside is within you and has always been within you. The institution could not afford for you to remember that, so they built walls, wrote creeds, banned books, mistranslated words, invented doctrines, all to keep you dependent, all to keep you small, all to keep you reaching for a salvation you already had. But tonight, you have seen the architecture. You have seen the machinery. You have seen the lies, and you cannot unsee them. The question is not whether the lies are real. The question is, what are you going to do now that you know? Are you going to go back to the pew? Bow your head? Say the words? Pretend you did not see? Or are you going to walk out of the building, into the open air, and breathe? Are you going to read the books they banned? Ask the questions they forbade? Sit in the silence they could not control? Are you going to reclaim your sovereignty? Because that is what this is. Not rebellion, not heresy, not apostasy. Sovereignty, the recognition that you do not need their permission to access God, that you do not need their rituals to experience the sacred, that you do not need their institution to know the truth. You only need breath and awareness and the willingness to listen. The presence you have been seeking your whole life is here, right now. It has never left. It has never been distant. It has never required a mediator. It is the breath moving through you in this moment, the awareness reading these words, the life that is living you. You are not separate from God. You are the presence of God in human form. And the moment you remember that, the moment you know it, not because someone told you, but because you feel it, because you breathe it, because you are it, everything changes. The doors open, the chains fall, the walls dissolve, and you are free, not because you escaped, but because you remembered there was never a cage. There was only the belief in one, and belief can be changed. Go in peace, or go in fire. Either way, go free. You are the light of the world, and the light is waking up. The church could not stop it. The councils could not vote it away. The lies could not bury it, because the light is not something you seek. It is what you are, and it has never stopped shining. Welcome home.